Frontier Opening Bell is our first edition this week. I'm Temple Ashaji. Welcome to the show. Let's look at how the market finished off last week for week to date and, of course, Friday's particular close. Nigerian exchange was down more than 2% on a week to date basis, 2.20% specifically. The BRVM Stock Exchange in Cote d'Ivoire closed positive on Friday, up some 52 basis points. EGX in Egypt was down 91 basis points on Sunday. Yesterday, the Nairobi Securities Exchange was also down, closed marginally down by 0.09% on Friday. Johannesburg Stock Exchange on Friday went northwards 0.27% and at 67,000 psychological position, the largest in Africa so far. Eastern African headlines now, where the World Bank has okayed Kenya's $750 million budgetary support. Kenya Central Bank sells treasury bills worth 18.5 billion Kenyan shillings. Williamson Tea expects more than 25% decline in full year 2021 profits. Kenyan in final phase of Okaria 1 AU6 power plant. In RwandAir, we've got Uganda flights on hold over virus surge. Merge listed Investment Evolution Corporation AGM to hold on July the 2nd. Wilson, you have those headlines to help us understand this morning.
I feel very seriously for the for RwandAir, where you look at the whole issue of the virus suspending flights to Uganda, in and out of Uganda. I don't think that is some very good news. We've seen some positive news in recent times as far as the financials, the economics, and the optics are for Uganda. But if the virus is beginning to rear its head, and the authorities in Tanzania or in Rwanda believes that, look, we can't afford to let the air flights continue in and out into our country, then that means that there's a very serious problem that needs everyone's attention, and we just hope, and I hope that they will be able to deal with that. The bigger story is the World Bank Kenya $750 million. So the initial news a few weeks ago, Temple, if you remember, was that it's going to be $400 million that the World Bank was preparing to give to Kenya. Kenya had been on this loan request from the World Bank for quite some time, since last year, including South Africa and Nigeria. The World Bank had continued to give very tough conditions to Nigeria, to the South Africans, as well as the Kenyans, the administration of President Kenyatta. Now it looks like they've been able to cross the T's and dot the I's, as it were, and are able to say, look, this is going to be $750 million budgetary support. It has raised a whole lot of criticisms and debates in Kenya. If you go on social media and in the news, you've seen a whole lot of folks say, look, this is the whole of Kenyatta's administration piling up more debt. But Kenya needs all the support it can get. Its tourism industry, which is one of the best in Africa, had been badly hit by the virus of last year. The whole of Mombasa region and everywhere, the whole Serengeti, the whole Safari had been badly hit. So Kenya needs this support very massively. But let us hope that the reopening of the economies in the Western Hemisphere, UK and elsewhere, will begin to see these tourists flowing back into Kenya. As quickly as Kenya can get more vaccines, get more testing done, and all of that, the more confident it will give to the Western visitors who are in the main heading to Kenya to come to Kenya to say we want to visit the safari once again. The summer is just here now, and if the things can quickly be done, so that Kenya will not miss the second year, as it were, in tourism inflows, that will be a very good news moving forward. Williamson Tea, looking at more than 25% in first half ending this month, January to June in revenue. That's good. I think they could do a whole lot more in terms of exports that are going out of Kenya. You know, whether it's Williamson Tea, Limuru Tea, and the rest of the big names in Kenya. I love good news when I see expectations or forecasts that are coming through in positive region. Temple.
Thank you very much, Bosun, for helping us out with some of those headlines this morning in the eastern part of Africa. We'll look at the western part of Africa now, and specifically the Nigerian markets, where we've got loads of headlines coming out of. World Bank Nigeria's development update out Tuesday, 15th of June. That's tomorrow. ETI raised a 10-year, $350 million tier 2 sustainability notes. Airtel development of FX rate is now $1 per 410 naira 95 kobo to $1, and in terms of pounds settlement, that will be 70 pence to $1 in terms of settlement for investors or shareholders there. NASD listed VFD Group 7.45 million naira rights issue at 555 naira. That ends on June the 14th today. Ghana, we've got World Bank approving some $200 million virus emergency preparatory and response project for that country. Propaco disburses 117 billion CFA franc for West Africa's largest biomass plant. Bosun, quite a number of corporate headlines there, and you've got the macro side of things as well. But specifically on ETI, this particular company seems to have been raising bonds year after year in recent time. Any idea as to what is going on there?
Yes, if you are a Pan-African lender like ETI, definitely you're operating in about 33 to 35 African countries. There's a whole lot of what do you call it, of needs, of funding needs that you need to have. The jurisdictions different, the various demographics differ from West Africa to Central Africa, all the way to East Africa, and a little bit of Southern Africa in their map. So you need a whole lot of basket of funding to help you be up top-notch. A lot of projects you'll be funding. You're doing SMEs funding, you'll be doing power, you'll be doing water, you'll be doing a whole lot of, but this particular sustainability notes, initial thought was that they'll do 300, they came up with 350, which is good. It's the first of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa in terms of a sustainability debt. And I think we should give kudos to ETI for being able to roll this out. The fact that they are able to get buyers, and that this particular bond was subscribed from 300 to 350, attests to the fact that this bank still got its ratings very well, and I think they would move forward. In terms of being a profitable bank, that seems to be a bit of a different issue in recent times in terms of rebalancing its books and making sure that it's not easy to operate across Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. Let me tell you, Temple, because there are a whole lot of issues here. If you look at Nigeria, exchange rate issue, for example, depreciation, devaluation, right, of currencies across regions. The whole weakness that we've seen across the continent is not very easy to do business in this particular corridor. So whoever tries it should be given some commendation, as it were, while we keep one eye open as financial journalists and others try to see if everything is going on well. We got a big news tomorrow from the World Bank for Nigeria. So let me quickly touch on Nigeria quickly with the World Bank Development Report. It's a half-year report. This report is released twice a year, first in January, the second in June, by the World Bank for Nigeria. It will show what policy options are available to the Nigerian authorities to create jobs and to provide business opportunities to people. We just hope, and I hope, that the Nigerian authorities are taking this on board. They are able to take these options and policy recommendations by the World Bank and others on board very quickly and implement them, because right now it looks like the country is getting choked up by the whole gaseous environment of insecurity and what have you, Temple. So that's the World Bank is also supporting Ghana, and I think I love this in the manner of speaking, because we can't, if you allow the gap between the developed economies and the developing economies and emerging markets to widen over time because of this pandemic, it's not going to bode well for either side, neither for developing countries themselves nor the developed countries. So we need to get that straight. If we allow this gap to continue to widen further because of the pandemic, then it's a mutually assured destruction. So it's in everybody's best interest to make sure that we close the gap, as it were, because your neighbor's problem is going to be your problem at some point. So the World Bank giving $200 million support to Ghana for preparedness and preparatory. I think it is good. Don't forget that Ghana hosts the headquarters of the AFCFTA. A whole lot will be going on there. You don't want this kind of virus infestations to ravage Ghana, for example, and you dislocate a whole lot of things. West Africa, which includes Ghana, is also the pilot region for the settlement, depository, and clearing and depository of the AFCFTA trade. So it's in everybody's interest to be sure that things remain very stable there. Propaco, and I love this project in Cote d'Ivoire, in which is going to be the first largest biomass project in West Africa in terms of using biomass for electricity, for energy. That is very good, and we'll see how this project moves on, Temple.
Thank you very much, Bosen, for all of those editorials there. Appreciate them. Moving on down to the Southern African markets headlines, where South Africa sold 51% majority in embattled South African Airways to private equity consortium. South Africa is to regulate cryptocurrency trading in a phased manner. Kibo Energy posts £6.42 million loss in the first full year 2020 earnings, compared to £3.90 million in the year 2019. Standard Chartered Bank Botswana has got its pre-tax profit out. There's a surge of 47% to 102 million pula. 36 asset managers write NASPAS. Process over the share exchange. Executives are meant to pay this particular obligation, so to say. This Boson will help us to understand that better.
The whole NASPAS and process was that NASPAS was very smart. You know, this is very large. It's a big company on the GSC, by the way. If you look at its share price, massive in Rand, and a very big company in media, in a whole lot of businesses, and they spun off process and listed that on the I think it's a Luxembourg, whatever stock exchange somewhere there in Europe. So they spun that off and they took that overseas. But then the questions now being raised by this group of asset managers in South Africa, and asking the executives of both NASPAS and process to explain. Hold on a second, guys. What's your executive pay is going to be like? What about the share exchange for this spin-off of process from NASPAS? So that was the issue as at late last week, as we grabbed that particular news headlines. The crypto issue is there. You remember those three crypto exchanges in South Africa said they're not going to provide the taxman, the SARS, any information about their customers. Now it looks like, look, because the bubble had busted in South Africa as far as the crypto exchanges and currencies trading was concerned, with the MTI issue, which became very strong, well publicized globally, that we'll be able to have our hands around it, not just allow you to just go on a wide or just a wide ride, as it were, without anyone keeping a permanent eye on what you're doing. So that's what the all crypto story came through over the weekend. The South African Airways story is that finally it looks like this consortium, about 2 or 3 companies, private equity guys, got 51% of South African Airways. Pretoria, Ramaphosa's administration will hold the balance, which is about 49%, which is a junior position, but still big enough, by the way, just about 2% above the consortium, bringing enough money, I think about 3 billion rand right now, to allow South African Airways back in the skies. They need to get back in the skies, Tempo, because if they start a little bit, remember, so Ethiopian Airways wiggled his way around the whole pandemic last year and they kept flying. RwandAir is flying as well, and a few other smaller airlines within the continent. So South Africa Airways should get its acts together. I'm looking forward to Kenya Airways being able to get some kind of arrangements like this out, okay? And get Kenya Airways back in the skies, and get Kenya Airways back even as a trading company listed on the Nairobi bourse, and I think Uganda and Tanzania exchanges as well. So that actually is a story. The Standard Chartered in Botswana is the biggest bank, one of the biggest banks there, although it's headquartered in South Africa. But the Botswana standalone, which is Standard Bank of Botswana, if you look at their earnings books, very, very big companies, very massive market share in Botswana. So talking about a pre-tax profit of nearly 50%, Tempo is a whole very strong comeback from 2020 for Standard Chartered in Gaborone.
Thank you very much, Bosun. Let's finish off with the Northern African headlines, where Orascom Financial Holdings achieves 19.08 million Egyptian pounds in profit. Cairo Oil incurs some 16.8 million Egyptian pounds loss in the first quarter of this year. 138 pyramids gets the financial regulatory authorities nod to set up SME-focused private equity firm. Casablanca Stock Exchange is existing listed derivatives market, says the Chief Executive Officer, Bosun.
The Casablanca story, let me just start from there because very quickly, the whole issue around the Casablanca, which is the Morocco Stock Exchange, is the exiting derivatives. Look, Temple, if you can't handle it and you don't have the market for it, just let it go for now. You can come back to it later. Kenya is ramping up very strongly on derivatives because the pure vanilla equity market is well grounded over the years, so they can afford to do that. Nigeria is also very strong over the years. You know that, Temple, as I do, the whole issue around the derivatives trading. So we've got a couple of asset managers that have some developed derivatives products with which you still doing, like basically now it's still an OTC in the Nigerian market. You know that. Then you find the Kenyan market doing derivatives even as an OTC. They're looking at whether they're going to do a separate exchange for that. And in the last few months, we've seen some news from Kenya about how this is. So Casablanca, if the exit derivatives trading, while they're focused on the equity side and get that up strong running, that will be a very interesting and for that particular exchange. The story around the Cairo Oil is a listed company, a little bit small, reporting a loss. Is a season for earnings releases, by the way, and that's how the numbers go. You can always come back and rejig your books, look at your operations, look at your businesses, look at your financials on the debt side, equity side, and what have you. Look at the markets, look at the fundamentals, look at the macro, and then you can always turn things around if look at how things go, by the way.
Bosun Mofai, thank you so much for all of these analyses and insights you've provided into these headlines coming from the different angles of the continent, Africa. Thank you so much. Bosun Mofai is our executive editor here at Frontier Africa Reports. And this has been the show, our very first edition for this week. Frontier Opening Bell. I'm Temple Ashaji signing off. We'll see you next
just in case I forgot, Nigerian market's closed for today. It was a Democracy Day holiday. So it's gonna be a whole, everybody's back on the block tomorrow.
So we remain on the same position, and then tomorrow we'll be able to give updates, or day after tomorrow, we should be able to give update about the closure of the market, state of the market. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.